I am Dr. S. Saravanan, Associate Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Yanamani College of Technology, Namakkal, Tamil Nadu. So I warm welcome to all the participants to this 14th session of 5 days FTP on sensor technology in industrial applications, and in this session on semiconductor, metal oxide and gas sensors. So now I am very pleased to give a welcome introduction to our resource person, Dr. N. Nityavadi ma'am. She completed his bachelor's degree in electronics and communication engineering at Kongu Engineering College, Perundurai, Tamil Nadu under Bharathiar University. She completed his master's engineering in mechatronics engineering at Kongu Engineering College, Perundurai, Tamil Nadu under Anna University. She obtained his PhD in information and communication engineering at Anna University, Chennai. Madam, having a more than 12 years academic experience, at now presently she is working as an associate professor in Department of Mechatronics Engineering, Kongu Engineering College, Perundurai, Tamil Nadu. She is an expert in nano composite and metal oxides. She has done a project in the title Design and Development of Roof Tile Protection Mechanism using Advanced ARM Processor Controller sponsored by DST during 2012 to 2015. Another project named Automated Toilet for Bedridden Patients sponsored by DST and DBT during 2015 and 2017. She has delivered around 15 guest lecturers sponsored by SERB, DST, ICMR, DRDO, DBT at various institutions. She has 29 international journal publications and 47 international national level conference publications. She is a professional member in ISTE and IE India. And she organized a national level conference on mechatronics NCMA 2017 at Kongu Engineering College, Perundurai, Tamil Nadu. She organized SPESC 2017, a national level PES Congress combined with drone workshop. She organized a CSIR sponsored seminar, Research on Magnetic Nanoparticles for Engineering Applications during 2013. She organized 12 webinars and more than 10 non-technical events for the benefits of IEEE students during this COVID-19 pandemic from March 2020 to September 2020. She has received several awards, particularly Best Student Award for Co-Curricular Activities at Kongu Engineering College, Perundurai, Tamil Nadu, Best Faculty Award at Kongu Engineering College, Perundurai, Tamil Nadu during 2013 to 2014. She received a National GLAD Certified LabVIEW Associate Developer from Texas, United States during 2015 to 2016. She received a Best Branch Counselor Award during 2018 to 2019 from IEEE Madras section. Finally, she is an active post in the following organizations: IEEE Chairman Women in Engineering during 2019 to 21, IEEE Exicam Madras section 2019 to 2021, and IEEE Treasurer in Nanotechnology Council 2019 to 2021, and IEEE Branch Counselor 2016 to 2020, a Staff Advisor in Robotics and Automation Society 2017 to 2020. Is a IEEE Secretary in ADSF site during 2019 and 2021. IEEE Secretary in WEMAS during 2018 and 2019. So with this short introduction, I warm welcome to all the participants and our today's this webinar resource person, Dr. Nityavadi ma'am also. Now I hand over the session to the resource person, Dr. Nityavadi ma'am. Please ma'am, you carry over and continue the session ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Your screen is visible. Already Pin Nityavadi N is presenting. Thank you.
Yes,
You
sir.
can carry on, ma'am.
So, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. So, I thank the AICT FDP on sensor technology in industrial application for giving us this valuable opportunity on sharing our ideas about semiconductor metal oxide gas sensors, and myself Nityavati. And I personally thank Jnanamani Educational Institution, Namakkal District, HOD sir and Sachin sir for helping me in each and every aspect, whatever doubts I asked regarding this session. Thank you everyone. And we can go on with this session now. Right? See, in these past days, you'd have known about what is nanomaterial, what is nanotechnology, what are all the different aspects of producing a nanomaterial, characterizing a nanomaterial, everything you would have got a glimpse on the past days, yeah, of this FDP. So let me give an idea of what is mean by nanotechnology in a short 2 or 3 minutes gap, and then we can go for the sensors and metal oxide sensors and metal oxide semiconductor sensors. We will have a look onto that. Okay, so we will start the session. So what do you mean by nanomaterials? We all know it is of the micro, it is of the micro range to the nano range of 10 to the power of -9 meters. And it is the integration of nanoscale technologies in which the surface is more and the volume is lesser. So that's such that the surface to volume ratio is more. And the main focus is on that aspect. We will create nanomaterials. Okay. Now, and to analyze today, much and more materials are used with nanotechnology aspects. There are so much material with nano aspects. See, in our day-to-day activities like face powder we use, and we are using clothes, we are using sensors in our laboratory, and much more applications are there. And in that, we are going to particularly see about the gas sensors. Okay, so we are all know this. So now what are all nanomaterials and what are all the different types of nanomaterials that is available in different forms they are available, like carbon nanotubes, CNTs, metallic tubes, and sensor probes or wires. It has been minimized, and the electrodes we are using in our day-to-day electrical laboratory, and nano rods we are using. We are converting nano rods, nano fibers we are using, and in turn we are using FET, MOSFET, everything in every aspect. Nano thing is being used in our microprocessor chip. Everywhere nanomaterials are used. So the first question we ask ourselves is, excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. Should I stop or say something?
No, ma'am, there was a crosstalk. I think you
Okay,
can carry
okay.
on.
So we would have asked ourselves, so then what does mean by nanomaterial? It is nothing but we are taking our bulk material, whatever the bulk material may be, say aluminium or zirconium or so much materials are there in the chemical composition analysis. So we are taking that bulk material on, either we are going to the top down approach or we are going to the bottom up approach. We are synthesizing or we are self assembling or we are making our own material, and that sort of size reduction, that is surface to volume variation is called, is mainly comes under nanomaterial analysis. So okay, so in that nowadays even bio nanomaterials are more privileged. You see, in our body we are having DNA structures, and those comes under nano analysis. Okay, so the next thing is, what is the nanoscale? So we are dividing our nanomaterials into two part of analysis, like nanosensors and nano actuators. So this is the main application of nano in electronics and electrical field. So nanosensors is nothing but to sense any. There are nearly so much sensing variables. Already it was like 64 variables were there. Now it was 123, I hope so. So different variables, analysis, sensing variables are there, like pressure, humidity, vibration, acceleration, force, temperature. So there are much more sensing variables. So everything can be sensed by using a bulk material that can also be converted to a nanosensor or nanomaterial. It may be like a powder form or a thin film form or like a nanofluid form. Any forms may be available. So we are taking the sensors and actuators into consideration for the nanoelectronics part, and with that nanoelectronics we are going for the nano systems. So in this area we are going to look on to this nanosensor today. Okay, and excuse. So nano actuators, they see, we are focusing on nano actuators. Now it is some form of actuating mechanism. Even our FET are, there are micro pumps, there are micro actuators, and those micro actuators or micro pumps can be analyzed in a nano form by converting or by what to say, by segregating or by partializing those materials and analyzing using our characterization techniques. Okay, so last class you would have seen about so much characterization techniques available, like XRD, SEM, TEM, and AFM, everything would have seen, interferometry analysis, everything would have seen. So these are the analysis to check whether the prepared materials, whatever method you can take, so whether the prepared materials is in the nanoscale or not, you can check by using those characterization techniques. Okay, then comes our nanomaterials, that is even the carbon nanotubes. Then you would have some question that what does mean by carbon nanotubes, CNT. So CNTs are nothing but it is an array, or it is a structure, base structure of, that is a sheet. It is a carbon sheet layer, and these carbon sheet layer can be either folded in a horizontal manner, vertical manner, or in a lateral manner to form different carbon nanotube structure. Mainly the tubes are used to transfer some fluid or some harder objects from one place to another. Similarly, carbon nanotubes are used to transfer information from one place to another. The information may be of vibration, or it may be some signal. Anything can be transformed through carbon nanotubes, and there are many things to be analyzed in carbon nanotubes, like single wall carbon nanotube, multi-walled carbon nanotubes likewise. So, and these materials, that is the dielectric, all these magnetic materials also comes under nanomaterials. And like polymers, there are much more polymers to be analyzed, and tweezers. You all know about tweezers. To pick up a microelectrical component, we will be using tweezers. So now there is a production of nano tweezer that we are going to see in these slides. Okay, so and after framing the nanoelectronics comes the nanosystems, and the nanosystems, what are the nanosystems? Is NEMS, nano electrical mechanical system, machines, robots, telesurgery equipments, drug delivery system to our body. But these things, telesurgery, drug delivery, are in the analysis state in the laboratory, and it has been not come into the came into the market. So, and drug delivery is nothing but when you are taking pills. You have nowadays you are doing that. No, we all take some pills, and we find a solution to a particular problem, healthy problems. We are finding some solution. So that all that materials comes under nanomaterials. Okay, whichever materials that is reduced in size and doing the properties of the parental comes under nanotechnology. Okay, so coming to the sensors. Sensor is nothing but some component. It is a physical component in which some biological or any physical or any chemical informations are measured, and that informations are converted into electrical signals. So that is the main scope of sensor, and we are taking sensors first, and then we are going in a stepwise manner. So nanosensor, it is built in the atomic scale. The moment we are reducing the size of a particle, a bigger or bulkier particle, then it comes under, automatically comes under nanoscale. Even the hair tip, no, we are having some the hair tip. It consists of so much atoms in our tip. It can be analyzed through SEM. Yesterday you would have studied that. So, and again, a chemical or physical sensors can be constructed, and mainly nanosensors. There are 4 types of nanosensors. Every sensor can be divided under these 4 sensors. Okay, it is like chemical sensor, biosensor, electrometers, and physical sensors. Okay, so each and every sensor we will be seeing today. So first comes this chemical sensor. So for preparing these 4 sensors, like chemical, electrometer, and so we need some synthesized process. So these synthesized process we would have here, like top-down approaches and bottom-up approaches. See, this is the actuator figure which we have shown. So these approaches, like ball milling, etching, or removing, like photolithography, everything comes under top down. And like for the bottom up approach, the chemical vapor deposition, sol gel, that is splitting up of particles, joining particles, that is assembling particles, everything comes under bottom up approach. Okay, and the other 2 techniques are molecular self assembly. Even molecular self assembly, it is in the laboratory stage, and we are going on with the experimentation. Molecular self assembly is nothing but assembling particles of what we need. Example, we need a magnesium aluminate as our component. Now we are taking magnesium molecules and we are taking aluminum molecules in the atomic scale level. We are combining those to prepare magnesium aluminate. So these are all the techniques of the preparation methods, and likewise we will also be having carbon nanotubes. Okay, see, the carbon nanotubes, mainly graphite nanotubes, everything today we are having much more importance, because even in your laptop, you will be producing some heat, no? So that heat can be minimized by using thermal, or it can be applied, or it can be implemented, these things, okay? So next is the chemical sensors. There are much more part in the chemical sensor. Even we will be having electronic nose. Have you heard about it, anyone? So electronic nose is there, and it is also a form of chemical sensor. The process involved in the chemical sensor is shown in the figure. So this it is like, it will be like there is a sensor, there is a transducer material which converts some form of sensing signal to an electrical signal. So in that, we will be having a receptor coating. That is, which type of chemical you need to sense, that receptor coating will be there above the transducer model. And if some form of chemical in the form of vaporization stage, if it is touching the receptor coating, there will be variation in the resistance and the temperature in the transducer, and it will be produced as output or response. Okay, this is the one and only method, whether it is a gas sensor or it is a chemical sensor, any sensor. This is the simple concept, and we can apply and see this concept by preparing nanomaterial, any nanomaterial which is suitable for that type of gases, because there are both oxidizing and reducing gas. So based on the gases, we will be fixing the material, and we will be having some doping. We will be seeing that in the forthcoming session. Okay, so generally a chemical sensor transforms chemical information or some concentration values into some analytical values. Okay, so this is an example of a chemical sensor, and the figure it is shown in the top. So next is the absorption of gas or liquid molecules is mainly done on the top or on the surface of this chemical sensor. And what that does, what happens is that the molecules modify the physical or chemical properties of this active layer. Receptor coating is there. So this active layer, the molecules is getting affected, and it is modified, and this modified values are transported or transformed into response, and we are getting the response at the end session. So considering the optical, so the refractive factor, the refractive index of the material changes based on the type of the gas or the type of the chemical which you are giving as input to the system. Okay, next thing. And based on the concentration, your output response will vary. Okay, so the next. So this is the sideways looking of your substrate, your semiconductive channel, your source drain. Okay, gate source drain, and you will be having the receptor coating here, and this is the top image of your sensor. It is like a thin film. You will be having your source drain concept in this E format, bottommost E format, and in the topmost E format also you will be having coating. This thin film is the semiconductive layer coating, and the moment the gas touches here, the atoms will be placed in between the two lines, and there will be a conduction from one line to another. Here it will be an input, here there will be an output. So there will be a conduction from one line to another. Okay, so this is given as explanation here. So this is the chemical sensor detects a change in the conductance of the semiconducting. It is like carbon nanotube they have given, but generalized, any material can be used. So comes in surface contact with certain chemicals like ethylene, ethanol, propylene, polyethylene glycol. So any type of gases, or else hydrogen gas, nitrous gas, NO2, carbon monoxide, CO2 gas, oxygen sensor, even oxygen sensor we are having. Normally, preferably carbon monoxide gas sensors is so rarely used. I'll say why it has been rarely used. I'll say that in the forthcoming session. I'll say that. So in detecting the NO2, the conductance of the CN, this is a simple example of identifying what is the reduction process, or what is the oxidation process going on in the semiconducting layer. So in detecting the NO2, the conductance, please note, the conductance of the CNT decreases because of losing one or more electrons to NO2. So NO2 gas. So the coated material is CO2 here. So sorry, CNT, carbon nanotube layer here. So on detecting NH3, if the same sensor is placed and we are detecting the NH3 gas. So if you have ammonia, that is the ammonia gas, and the conductance of the CNT increases because of gaining electrons from the NH3. So based on the oxidizing or the reducing gas, the conductance, not the resistance, the conductance values differs. Okay, based on the conductance value, we will predict what concentration of the gas has been passed to that setup. So simply we cannot pass gas in the open air. We will see how an apparatus to be placed for that gas sensing nature. Okay, so it can be used like for carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, ethylene, hydrogen, oxygen, or ethanol or glycol. Anything can be sensed. We can prepare based on our nature. We can prepare the sensor, but we should stick to that. What are all the materials can be used for that sensor? We should fix, and then we could go for the analysis. Okay. Okay, these are some chemical sensors, whether it may be gas sensor or general any chemical. These are the sensors. It is like, these are the classifications. It is like with heat transfer, we can measure the ability of the sensor. With mass loading capacity, we can do that. With the fluorescence analysis, we can do that. With the refractive index changes, we can analyze a particular form of sensor, or the electrochemical reactions that is happening on the substrate and the response received as voltage or current, we can analyze the sensor. And by using conducting pathways, the previous we have saw, no, this E. So by using conducting pathways, we can decide what the sensor is. Okay, so these types can be mainly broadcasted as thermal, mechanical, optical, and electrical. So these are the major classification of the chemical sensors. Okay, when coming on to the next sensor, it is like physical sensors. See, you have seen about AFM, that is anti-force microscopy. Okay, so this microscopy analysis characterization of this nanomaterial. This is the probe tip. In that probe tip, there will be an atom, and that atom, by using contact or non-contact or by tapping mechanism, 3 modes are there in the AFM. By using any of the 3 modes, we can analyze the surface. We can get a clear picture of the surface morphology of that particular image. So physical sensor comes under this. Either it may be a contact or non-contact or by tapping. We can analyze a particular surface and we can come into conclusion what the surface is, how the surface is, and what type of applications we are using that form of material, we can detect that. Okay, and also we can frame an outline image of that particular surface. And in very few research centers are do have AFM. So for if you are taking an AFM, a microscopic image of that particular material we are using, then it is very good for the analysis purpose or research purpose. Our research will be so much focused on how the material will be, how the sample will be, on what microns the deviations are there, what amount of atoms are there. So there's so much data we can get by using this AFM. So the physical sensors, nothing but the carbon nanotubes. This is the, for example, assume this is the structure of, I have not given the structure, I hope. Okay, so this is the structure of carbon atom. It is like a meshed structure where a single carbon atom is internally connected to 5 or 6 carbon atoms. I hope you would have heard about the buckyball concept. So have you heard about the buckyball concept? Have anybody spoken about the buckyball concept? Sir, Sachin sir?
No, nobody has done it.
Yeah. See, the buckyball is nothing but Buckminster, a famous scientist of nanotechnology research. He has said a word that Buckminster, his name is, and he has said a word like buckyball. It is nothing but a ball which is having full carbon atoms in it. So from where he got this idea is once he went to space, see the team, not him, the team went to space and they collected air molecules from the space. It is like vacuumized in the space, no? The air molecules are so much spread and it is like vacuum. It is more or less like vacuum and not vacuum. And they have collected the air molecules for analysis. By analyzing that in his research lab, he found out one thing. We all have seen the football structure. How would be the football structure? Like a pentagon on one side and a hexagon on the next. So one pentagon, it will be connected to 5 hexagons. So that is the football structure. So that is the reason even a single punch of lower distance and a larger force can move the ball till to the goal. So that is the reason the football, the main concept of the football has been arrived from that buckyball concept. The buckyball is like similar thing. It is having a pentagon and a hexagon form of. You can have a close look on the football which you're having in your home. It will be like one white color and 6 black colors will be there. So the white color, I hope, I can't remember the color. White color, I hope it is like a pentagon, and the black color is like hexagon. You can see that. So that is the reason with a small punch, it is punching onto the goal. So that concept came from him. So the similar carbon atoms, like 128 carbon atoms were there in a particular air molecule, and he analyzed that. He gave a small micro amount of force, and the atom was like so much moving. That is the main reason of our satellite moving in outer space. So these type of sensing like physical sensors or chemical sensors, everything have arrived from our nature, from our body. Everything has arrived. See, the chemical sensors is our nose. Okay, the physical sensor or the non-contact type physical sensors, it is our ears. We are collecting everything like an antenna. We are collecting the every audible signals from the surrounding. We are focusing on a particular part, passing on to the eardrums. Eardrums are vibrating, and in that we are getting the signals. We are transferring that vibration signals to response, and in that response it is transferred to the brain. So every process, every sensors which the scientists build now has been arrived from our own body. In our body, nearly thousands and thousands of sensors are there, still to be analyzed, still to be. We don't know the reason why there are so much sensors. Likewise, the moment in a 10-meter back, if somebody is in a forceful mind, if they are coming to hit us now, we have an intuition and we suddenly turn and look at them. It is all due to the air molecules that is present us. They gave a vibration to our body. Immediately our skin senses, and it is giving signal to the brain, and the brain reacts, and we are turning and locating him. Somebody will be seeing us from some distance. We will be doing some work importantly, but suddenly an intuition comes and we will look at them. Is there someone looking at me? Likewise, we will look at them. It is all due to the air molecules and the vibration and the aura, and then in the nanoscale range that is transferred in the air or environment, that makes the other person to get an intuition. So likewise, many scientists have depicted on what is nanotechnology, how the nanomaterials are there, how it is prevailed. Everything is still going on analyzing. Okay, so this is the carbon nanotube, and we can have an analysis through AFM. Okay, so the next thing, biosensors. In biology, see, there are so much sensors that has been coming in biological analysis today, and the biosensors, it even detects the amount of DNA or the how much WBCs are there, how much RBCs are. Based on that count, what is there, what is the plasma, everything. We are going on into the research. See, you would have heard that our past president, Sir Abdul Kalam sir, once he went to a school. It is a little bit small story. We will look onto that. See, what I have heard, I am saying you, whether I may be correct or not, please don't mistake me. So he went to a particular hospital, and in that he was visiting so much patients. So what is the motto behind visiting the hospital is, he has made some invention. His team has made some invention of aluminium material. Okay, so the aluminium material, what they did is, for the aircraft nose, there is a nose, the nose material, it is hit by some birds or something, and it is being deformed. So to avoid that, what they thought is to mix the metal matrix composites like aluminium and some metal matrix AL 7075 is that 2024. Many metal matrix composites are there. So they are using that composites to coat the aircraft nose, and with that they could able to avail the strength and also the flexibility in flying, lightweightedness. So they achieved that, and they implemented that, and successfully they got so much rewards for that. So in acknowledging him, they invited him for the hospitals to look after some to have a glimpse of some patients available there. So he was visiting there, and a small child, I don't know the actual thing, whether it is a small child or a grown up. So they came and asked you, would you not invent anything for us? See, both my knees are so paining, I couldn't able to walk. Could you not invent anything for me? Likewise, the question arises, and immediately he went on to his research team, and he made a research on the knee structure. So then came the artificial knee. Beforehand, there were artificial knee. It was so weight, and even blood clots were formed when they fixed the artificial knee bone. முட்டி இருக்கு இல்லைங்களா அதுல. So they fixed that, and it was so paining. So people do not prefer those artificial knee beforehand. But after Abdul Kalam sir had invented this artificial knee of nanomaterial like aluminium and some composites to prepare that knee, and it was like lightweight, everybody would prefer that, and that is the reason even every inch of people is having so much respect to him, and we are so much delighted to have him as our past president. Yeah. So in biology, so much sensings are still happening. Okay. So likewise, so the based on the composition, see this thing on the left side, in their hand they're having some instrument, small instrument. We would have seen this in the hospital. It is called a plethysmograph. It is used to measure the blood pressure and the blood count. So it will be fixed in our forefinger. See, it will be having some we would have studied this in our classes, like hot wire anemometer, everything would have studied. No, the same concept is used here. The thing is that they would supply some vibration. That is, you would have heard about Fleming's left hand rule and Fleming's right hand rule, no? So that concept is applied here. So one side current will be flowing, one side magnetic field will be flowing, another side current will be flowing, and the third side movement will be happening. So based on the movement, the output current we are withdrawing in the wire, and we are checking how much current is there, and the transmission based on the blood. Okay, the blood nerve, in the nerves, blood transmission is there, no? So based on the count, the amount of charge or current varies. So that's why I have included that picture here. It is the plethysmograph image, and it is very accurate. Those plethysmograph images are very accurate. And in modernization, we are having blood glucose meter and pregnancy test kits. Now we are having corona test kits also. Everything comes under nano biosensors. Okay, so some form of materials, it is prepared into the nanoscale, and it is being coated in the kit, and that kit we are using for some tests. Okay, based on the material we have to detect, the kit coating will be there. Okay, the next thing is that, so we have made an explanation of this biosensor, how the sensor array will be. So the micro level of analysis is here. So how the sensor array will be, and how the chip is placed, and how an internal in the bottom there will be heat supply. The reason is without some form of heat or vibration, because these comes under semiconductor principle. So for a basic principle of semiconductor material is we should give some form of initiation for the material to sense. Simply passing on to the input and getting the output is not possible. We should give some heat or vibration or any form of initiation to the substrate material, such that the response or the operating process is little bit faster for us. Okay, so that's the reason here there is a heated power supply before the below the substrate. So there will be a heated power supply. It is like heated. There is a transducer mechanism that converts the physical change in or the reaction that is happening between the biological material and the sensor coating. It will be giving some output, and that based on the output response. So this is the BioSheet platform. So based on the output response, we will be predicting what sort or what concentration or what level may be varying in our input. Okay. So if we are some constraints to be noted. So in each and every processing of nanomaterial, there is like initial conditions. So those initial operating conditions should be maintained. So we are preparing a sensor, researchers are preparing a sensor, or we are synthesizing some sensors and we are using for some application. We would have prepared in some form of environment, and the same environment should be used with the operators or with the final people, such that then only the sensor will be giving the same form of output. Okay. So the types of biosensors comes under like electrochemical, electrical, optical, sensitive. You may ask me a question, why biosensors you are taking instead of going for gas sensors? Biosensor is also a semiconductor metal oxide sensor. So that's why we are dealing with biosensors also here. Okay, so mass sensitive and thermal sensors are there, and by analytes, to measure the analytes like enzyme, proteins, antibodies, DNA variations, Unlike animal tissues or plant tissues, we can use this biosensors. Even you would have heard in the newspapers and in the maybe in the TVs or things like artificial tissues, like skin, no, like artificial skins are being manufactured now. See, the doctors, they are they are very rare of getting original skins, because for each and every students who are doing their MBBS or something, they should give a particular measurement of tissues or skin, natural skin to them for analyzing purpose. Each and every year they should give, but they are of deficient that. Then what government taught us to give these projects to colleges or universities or research centers, so that artificial skin can be made in an efficient manner similar to original skin. So now the preparation has been finished, and it has been, the artificial skin and artificial tissues has been supplied to the students or doctorate students or doctoral students, and it is being used now. It will be like similar type of a original skin. Okay, so nanomaterials are used on those, nanocomposites are used on those preparation of materials. Okay, this is a deployable sensor. In aircraft, they will be placing this sensor to analyze the area. It is purposefully used in military applications, okay, in defense and for homestar security, homeland security, they are using this. It has been done by Sniffer Star, and it is known as Sniffer Star. You can search for that in the net. And in this end of this slide, I have given some resource material to where to look on, or to on a particular topic where to look on. You can go through that too. And it is very lightweight. It will be collecting all the details. Still this sensors is being used in military application. And today, I should mention this also. And today, gas sensors are being placed in drones. You would have heard about UAV drones, unmanned aerial vehicle drones. So gas sensors are being placed in the mini drones, quadcopter drones, and those drones are being flew in field or in military areas, such that they are detecting the gas levels on that area by using that sensors. So it is so lightweight, it can be used anywhere, and it is a the reliability and the selectivity of gases is more in gas sensors today, the researchers have found out. So still research is being done, so you can go through many materials for gas sensing applications for high factor research. Okay, so this is an electrochemical sensor. So a chemical sensor and an electrical output is that is the reason it is called electrochemical sensors. So it operates on reacting with the different gases based on our interest by producing electrical signal proportionate to the gas concentration. Okay, and the power is very less for an electrochemical sensor, so it can be preferred. So this is yet another thing. You would have heard about blue crab. Have you heard anyone? Have you anyone heard about the blue crab? This is the blue crab nanosensor, and the substance found in the shell is called the chitosan nanosensor. And this chitosan material is a biological compound that readily binds negative. It will be binding all the negatively charged particles. Okay, and works well in complex, sensitive devices such as nanosensors, and we commonly uses weight loss supplements. Everything done here, and the different cantilevers detect different substances and concentration. I think you would have heard about the crabs being imported and exported. Have you heard anyone? Have you imagined why the reason in the cantilever beams, and it is used measuring the pressure variations and sensing variations. Everything is being done here. Okay, so nano actuators, and this is the nano actuator, and the nano actuator systems. See, look at this picture. Look at the actuating picture, and kindly wait a minute. One minute excuse for 1 minute. So this nano actuators, it is like you'll be seeing about you would have seen about the PLC actuators, no? The relays, actuator mechanism. The same mechanism is being built here in the nano actuators. In that, you will be having a coil with a permanent magnet based on the supply that is given, a small amount of supply that is given to the outer core of the coil. Your center core will be moving based on the magnetization. That is, you will be giving some supply. Based on the positive and negative part of the supply, your coil will be behaving as a magnet. If you are giving a positive supply now, then it will be behaving as a north pole of the magnet. If you are giving a negative supply partner, then it will be behaving as south pole of the magnet. So based on the supply you are giving, your coil will be behaving, and the coil will be acting as a magnet, and based on the magnetization which the coil acts, the inner core will be moving from left to right. There will be a linear movement in the inner core, and that inner core produces a vibration or a motion, and that can be used for any pumping action. So water can be, minimal amount of liquid can be pumped, or water can be pumped. Likewise, any application or an air fluid can be pumped from one end to another end, or some actuation mechanisms can be done for any setup like FET or anything. So some activating mechanism can be done. So through this, these types of sensors are also being coated with nanomaterial. So finally, we are coming for the gas sensors. And gas sensors today, automobiles and even military clothes. So some military people will be moving from one place to another place. The main thing, the cause is lack hidden is that the opposite country, or the people who are not aware of that, the danger situations, what they do is they will leak onto the carbon monoxide or nitrous or sulfur gas. They will leak on. The slow intake of those gases makes them faint or makes them into a very bad traumatic stage. So to avoid that, what today researchers have done and implemented is they are fixing gas sensors in their clothes. They will be having some suits, military suits. We are fixing some gas sensor. Initially, those gas sensors are also adding weight to them. And what DST, DRDO, everyone gave opportunities that to reduce the size of the gas sensor or to prepare more amount of gas sensor in a particular array. So they were going on with that. And now too, research is going on with this gas sensor and fixing on to the military people, such that they would get an initial alert on what type of gas is there in their environment where they are, whether oxygen is deficient or any form of sulfur is being leaked or nitrous is being leaked. So much accidents also, we have heard in this past decades of accident due to gas bombarding. Everything has happened. Before 3 months also we have heard that. So to my suggestion, gas sensors can be placed in places where there might be leakages or there is an incident to be happen. So to minimize situation, it can be connected to an alarm. So an alarm can indicate people of the variation concentrations of the gas, and it can be given, and it can be what to say. It is a needed thing in this area. Okay. So the next comes, these measures the oxygen. So we are taking on to consideration oxygen sensors. Say in an automobile, you would have heard about zirconia sensors. Yeah. So the zirconia sensors is nothing but ZrO2 sensor. It measures the oxygen level. See in this picture, you might have a clear idea. In this picture, you might have a clear idea. So this is the metal oxide semiconductor, and the sensor is that in the metal oxide semiconductor, and a micro level heater is placed at the bottom. So a voltage supply is given with a source current, and a voltage source is given on the top portion, okay, of the sensor. The design may vary from people to people. This is a generalized design. Okay, so the sensing element is being coated on the top portion. Okay, with the sensing element, it is being coated on the top portion. Okay, so the moment the gases or any type of variation or chemicals is passed on to that, the sensor senses that, and what happens is there is a variation. The sensor support, it is a sensor is sensing, and there is a variation, that is voltage output is there. So this is a heater voltage, and a voltage output will be present there in this output coil, and we are measuring that out. So likewise, the gas sensing principles and applications, everything. Gas sensing principles, gas sensing principles, their application, they includes like automobiles, industrial furnaces, and it's to analyze whether it is a toxic and inflammatory gas detection or some leakage is there, and we can use it for electronic nose to detect the air quality monitoring system, even to detect the food quality in a food technology or food processing industry. We can use this, and for medical diagnosis. See, in many hospitals nowadays, the air pumps, or the exhaust pumps from the AC ventilation system, no? That system should be frequently cleaned, or else the ventilation system gets affected, and the ventilation that is connected to the particular room. We are having a central AC, we are having a central AC, and that it is connected to the room, and that form of ventilation, if it is already been infected and we are inhaling that gas now, surely in 1 or 2 months we will be having all sorts of lung problems. You might all heard about the past stories of this. So there should be a monitoring system, even gas monitoring system, even in the AC ventilation system of theaters, malls, and hospitals. See, in this pandemic situation, nearly 8 months, the theaters or the malls have been closed, and the moment they open, we hope that the ventilation system will not be clean. Only the sofas, curtains, chairs, screens will be clean. Will they clean the ventilation system? So that's the reason government is going on insisting to avoid ACs in these type of pandemic situations. Okay, so the sensing principles of these gas sensors is very much accurate, and you should focus on what type of material you are sensing, and based on that material you should prepare your substrate, you should prepare your base material, and then you should go for sensing particulars. Okay, so this sensors in turn, you would have we are speaking about zirconia sensors now, ZRO2. So zirconia sensors is otherwise called as lambda sensors. Okay, lambda sensors, we will be seeing that in the class. We will be seeing that. So some commonly used gas sensor materials are conducting polymer composites, metal oxides, carbon nanotubes, and we are much focused on metal oxides. The reason is these metal oxide semiconductors, mixed metal, whether it may be mixed metal oxides or simple metal oxides or semiconductor gas sensors, any combination. These have a very good capacity of sensing and their selectivity of gas. So when 2 or 3 gases are coming in a particular instance, carbon monoxide is coming, nitrous oxide is coming, so the particular sensor should differentiate the 2 gases. That is called selectivity. So it should differentiate both the gases, and some gas may be from 0 to 100 ppm. Some gas will be from 10,000 to 1 lakh ppm. So based on the variations in their concentrations too, the sensor should able to identify the particular gas that is coming. But to my concern, what I have researched in the past, if the variation is too much, the concentration of the gas variation is too much now, our sensor will not be fit. A sensor, if we are preparing some sensor now, based on the level, that is the thickness of the sensor film, the amount of gas can be, that is the concentration of the gas can be detected. If we are preparing for a 10,000 ppm gas sensor, some material is prepared for that thing now, we cannot use that for 10 ppm or 5 ppm. It will not detect. Or else if you are preparing a sensor, a very certain film sensor for to detect 10 to 50 ppm variation in the gas now, then it will not be suited for 10,000. Immediately if you are passing 10,000 ppm gas in that sensor now, your sensor will be gone. That's all. So these type of differentiation first we should analyze, and then we should start preparing our work. Okay. The next thing is gas sensors. Semiconductor gas sensor. So this is the output. So for every sensor, so we can have this setup and have an analysis. First, this is the basic setup we have produced in our laboratory. It is a prototype model. It is not a real-time model. It is a prototype model. So in this model, there is a gas measuring system. Different types of gases can be used. In that, it isn't necessary for you to give a reference gas and a target gas. So the reason is you are giving a reference gas and you are making your sensor portion in a stable manner, and after that, if you are passing on to your target gas now, your sensor will have a very good prediction and a response. That's the reason wherever you are placing your sensor, there is a need for your heater coil FD base to provide your sensing nature, that is operating nature, in a smooth manner. So initially you should clean your chamber. This is our chamber. Initially you should clean your chamber with this reference gas, and you should make the sensor in a particular referenced value, output voltage in a particular, it may be like resistance variation, and we are conducting that resistance variation either to conductance analysis or to voltage analysis. It is our model. The end data acquisition system, we should change the value. We can change that. Okay, so this is the data acquisition system. We are indicating this in a particular modelized base. That's all. So you are giving the reference gas, cleaning the apparatus, giving some time for it to respond, and the moment you are passing on to your target gas, any target gas, it may be like oxygen, it may be like carbon monoxide, it may be like hydrogen, it may be like nitrous oxide, any gas, sulfur, anything you can do it. Okay, so you are passing on to the gas, you are allowing it for some response time. There is a detection time and a response time. So you are waiting for that sensing setup to detect. And after that, you are passing on the gas to the reservoir. Okay, so because you should not give any gas to the open space. So we are little bit environmental concern now, so that's the reason. So this setup, the output of this setup be like this. So you are initially passing on your reference gas, and the resistance will be slightly improved, and it will be like monitor based on the oxidizing gas you are passing or the reducing gas. Your resistance of that gas sensor may increase or decrease, and based on your whether it is N type or P type, the resistance variation must surely happen. So for this material, so your resistance is going on increasing, and a particular level it will drop as it. So this is the level of the response time, and this is the level of the recovery time. Okay, you are passing on to the gas, and suddenly you are stopping the gas and allowing it to respond, and then you are taking the response output. So this similar response will be going on in a continued manner. Okay, but to my actual research experience, in our research, whether it may be like pellet preparation or like thin film or like coating or like fiber, anything you can prepare, but the processes it will be having like 3 to 4 times or maximum 5 times. Your sensor will be having a good response. After 5 times or 6 times analysis, the sensor will try to lose, because you are not considering the polymer, or you are not considering the catalyst to make your reaction process stronger, and we will not be focusing on the binding material we are using. So based on these conditions, our response may vary. Okay, so semiconductors already we know, it is like materials with electrical conductivities that are intermediate between those of conductors and the insulators, and based on the materials, whether it is solids, liquid or gas, based on the material, we know that energy band gap differs based on the material. So based on the energy band gap difference and the semiconductor substrate which you are using, we will get the output response very good. So we should each and every characterization part we should analyze. You might have seen that you would have analyzed while going on for nanomaterial characterization. You would have analyzed for EG, that is the band gap energy. You would have used some simple formula. That formula might not be used, but we would use it for our calculation. That 1240 by lambda, you would have used that formula based on the wavelength. We will be preparing that whether by material is semiconductor or insulator or conductor. So that 1240 by lambda can be used, or else another formula is that RT by N into output gas reference gas value by target gas value. So that also you can. So this is called mixed metal oxide semiconductor sensor. So this can also be used like that. We are using ZrO2, TiO2, molybdenum WO3 and tin oxide SnO2. These are the basic metal oxide semiconductors. So we can mix this and also we can have a try. What we have tried is we have tried with TiO2 SnO2, ZrO2 SnO2, and cerium oxide we have made a try. And in turn we have made a try with the ZnO2 in combination with magnesium alumide. We have saw these results, and we had made many promising factors like the selectivity could not be made, the array formation little bit poor. So all these constraints were still overcoming in our research. So the next is that based on the type, whether it is P or N, based on the type, your resistance as we have previously said, your resistance changes. So the moment you're going for gas sensor, the first thing to be in your mind is what gas I need to measure, how much I need to measure, what is the material that has been already used for measuring these gases, what is the composition which they have made with that material, whether it is N or P, whether the gas is oxidizing or reducing. So everything you need to keep in mind and then go for the analysis part. See, the system architecture is like this. We have made this, we have done in this manner. So we are acquiring the sample. We are getting the data acquired from the system through manual measurement. And with that measurement, we are focusing on an analytical part whether the gas which we are passing based on the sensor results, based on the chromatography analysis of the gas, and based on the electrophoresis principle, we will be getting on into a particular conclusion, and based on that conclusion, we will finally provide our result. We have already seen this. So based on this, the intrinsic or extrinsic, any semiconductor, we will be having here intrinsic, so the energy gap and the whole energy is given here for your reference. So the N-type and the P-type is there. So to our understanding, I have given this diagram. So for N-type, it will be when you are passing on oxygen gas, so the resistance will be going on increasing or it will be dropping. And for the same oxygen gas, if we are having a P-type substrate now, then the resistance will be going on decreasing from the normal level. It will reach when the moment of the gas stop, it will reach the particular point, and then it will be increasing to the nominal level, and it will be like stabilized. Okay, so the reaction time, response time, everything we need to note. We need to do a transient response analysis, and then we need to do a final conclusion based on this analysis. Okay, so we have seen this. So some applications are that SnO2 gases, SnO2 based materials are mainly used for gas sensors. Many gas sensors, SnO2 is actually detecting. And even in SnO2, the chemisorption of oxygen is little bit based, because already SnO2 is having an oxygen molecule. No, sorry, SnO2 is having some oxygen molecule. So while comparing with the target and the reference-based resistance value, we should be very careful whether the oxygen molecule is due to the substrate coated material or due to the gas sensors which we are applying. Okay. So how does the sensor work? We have already seen. So this zirconium oxygen sensor. So the zirconium oxygen sensor is being fitted in the exhaust gas and measures, in turn measures the fuel or air mixture that is being passed to the cylinder. Okay. So these are the sensing mechanism that is being operated. The oxygen molecules are coming. The electrolyte is being, the oxygen molecules is being picked or dropped, and based on that picking or dropping, the electron ratio might increase, and this is way for the movement of electron, that is charges, and you will be getting your output. Okay. So for a normal working of a sensing mechanism, we will be having a temperature maintenance of around, are using materials of low melting point and boiling point. We will be going around for around 120 or 150 degrees. That will be okay. Because 450 degree now, then what happens is sometimes the bonding between the substrate and the sensing element will break. So it's another oxide gas sensors is toxic gas sensors, and this toxic gas sensors like the sensing, the counters, and the overall reactions is being given. Initially, we saw about toxic gas sensors. No, similar condition is there for carbon monoxide gas sensors too. Okay? So the reactions is the carbon monoxide gas sensors is they are capable of being electrochemically oxidized or reduced by hydrogen sulfide or chlorine gases. Okay, so we should be very careful in using every sensor in any part of unmanned environment. Okay. So the next coming to the electron nose, it is nothing but in our sensory organs we are having actual nose, and that nose we are predicting different smells. So your mother may be cooking in the kitchen, then the moment you get the smell, you will identify, okay, this dish is being prepared. Likewise, similar to that, the electronic nose which we are preparing should predict what type of gas. So for that thing, we should have a series of sensor array such that those sensor array will predict much more gases in a single slot. Okay, that is the reason why they have gone for this electronic nose. So it consists of an array of chemical sensors. Usually, mainly it is a gas sensor, okay, or gas sensor, or any it may be like toxic gas sensors or normal gas sensor, any gas sensors, and the pattern of output, that is the response output. Based on the pattern of output, we will predict which gas is being now passed. Okay. Okay, this is an example of acetone, benzene, chloroform. So you'll be having different sensors here, sensor outputs here. So based on your coloring, okay, you can say, okay, acetone is more here. Okay, this black is here, so benzene is more here. So chloroform, this is the chloroform, so chloroform is more here. So you separately or individually, you will get the sensor results and you will note down. And then after combining the gas and you're passing gas each and every time you're passing different gas, your sensor should identify the variation or selection in the gas. Okay. This is our areas of application. So identification of spilled chemicals, air quality monitoring, quality of foods and drinks, water and wastewater analysis, detection and diagnosis of infections. So much more things can be done using this. And the next slide is. So these are the applications of our nanosensors, whether it may be a gas sensor or a chemical sensor, or it may be a physical environment detection system sensor, whatever may be the case. The major application is like hot wire anemometer, fluid flow. You can use hot wire anemometer, and that for hot wire anemometer you can have a thin film coating, and you can have a bolometer for IR radiation detection. You can have some capacitive humidity sensor, and you can have some ion sensitive sensor carrier to measure the current flow. You can have a drain source electrode to predict the difference in the FET or MOSFET or any or BGP, anything. And you can pass on to the nano membranes. There are so much nano membranes to be prepared and to be researched in our lab, like for predicting the amount of WBC or what are all the things that is present inside the WBC, the nepocyte complexes or the plasma that is present in our blood. Everything can be predicted through nanosensors. It can be through offline or it can be through online. So you would have heard about the heart operations, no? Heart operation. The stent will be fixed in the heart. So that even that is also your simple sensor, and it is like shape memory alloy. You would have all have heard about shape memory alloy. Shape memory alloy is nothing but it will be in its original. That is, we are preparing the shape memory alloy into any shape, and that will be maintained. In case of any heat or anything, it will be formed. The deformation will be formed to its original position or original location or original form. It will be converted. So that heat or electrical signals to that shape memory alloys can be used in many applications, like your car bannets. The car bannets are formed into a particular structure and they are fixing.
whether the car may be with some accidents, or you might have hit somewhere and your bonnet might be little deformed. So in the previous thing, what we did is we threw that to the iron, and they deformed it, they made it a small portion, they'll throw it, they'll melt it, likewise everything happened. But now the magnet is being taken to the lab, and in that, if they are passing some current or some heat to the magnet, the magnet will be prepared to its, or it will be changed to its original position. So that concept is being used in your heart surgery. So the stent that is prepared, that is being placed in the heart for heart blood block. So that stent costs nearly around, I don't know the actual cost, but the cost of operation, everything includes nearly 2.5 lakhs also. So that stent, what we do is, we enlarge the heart wall when we place the stent inside the heart wall, such that the blood flow is uniform. And that stent, it is framed into its original form through some heat that is passed inside the heart while doing the heart operation. So this much application we are having for nanosensors. Likewise, initially I would have said something about face powder. So powder we are having. So face powders we are having, face creams, everything, nanomaterials there. You can check that. You can take the powder. You can check for TiO2 present in that powders, and you are having sunscreen lotions everywhere. Nanomaterials are being used today. Even we are having paint, nano paint, lubricating systems, paints. So nano paint, what they do is, they have prepared the nano paint with some temperature of like 18 degrees centigrade. We need to keep the surroundings, and they are preparing that material for that purpose, and they are coating inside the room, and it will be like the paint will be keeping the room in its 20 or 18 degree for which we have made it. So that much application is there in nano paint, in nanomaterial, and also in big malls or houses or apartments, we will be seeing glass windows and glass doors and glass structures. All these glass structures are being coated with nano paints, that is nano film, and what they do is, it is being coated with TiO2. Usually TiO2 is like hydrophilic and hydrophobic. Both these natures are combined there, and that nature, what to do is, the moment the dust or something just stick on that paint or layer now, then that paint, the film, it absorbs that in its surface. The moment water is splashed on the paint, then the film, then it threw away the dust particle in a simple way, and it is like self-cleaning process. Okay. Likewise, more and more nanomaterials are used. In butterfly, you would have seen a butterfly. So butterfly, such a wonderful state is that butterfly is having its own self-cleaning process. You would have seen the butterfly wings like a thumb impression. No two humans are having the same thumb impression. Likewise, no two butterflies are having the same design patterns in its body. It is like a nature's nanomaterial. And you would have seen about lotus leaf. In the lotus leaf, have you seen any water droplets sticking on a lotus leaf? It will be like moving. The water droplets is moving. This is also the self-cleaning process. And in your iron dosa tawa, you will have seen that, no? When it is in the heated condition, when you are splashing water droplets in that, it will be like ball pinching. It will be like looking like in a very fantastic manner. And that is also a self-cleaning process. And these are very based applications of nanosensors. And these are the resource materials, and you can have a look. I have given the presentation to your faculty, and I thank everyone who involved me in this, giving us nano-based materials. Maybe I would have made some mistakes in my presentation, and apologies for that. And is there any question?